What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another Sisterlocks video. I'm so glad that you all were able to tune in and join in the topic of discussion today, which is what are the expectations of jumping into getting Sisterlocks? Okay, what are some things that you can consider as an expectation? I just wanted to gather about 5 points here just to go over with y'all for anyone that's still kind of in limbo, deciding whether or not this is something that they want to do. They have questions, just simple, basic questions, common questions regarding what they can expect when getting into the Sisterlocks journey, or attempting to anyways. Okay, so if you guys are interested in just hearing some of these 5 expectations that I will be going over, make sure to keep watching. Also, don't forget to thumbs up the video if you like it, subscribe to my channel so that you can keep up with all future postings, and also don't forget to drop comments below. I definitely like to engage with you all, answer questions quicker there than actually forming a video, so feel free to leave some comments and we are going to get right into this video. Okay, y'all, so the first expectation that I want to shed light on when you are considering jumping into the Sisterlocks journey, you want to consider the price point. I know for a lot of people, the price point really isn't an issue. They could care less about the price point, but then you have others that are like, okay, how much am I really coming out of pocket just to start this journey, just to get into the mix of all of this? So in today's economy, I think it's safe to say that trying to find a price point less than $1,000 to get Sisterlocks installed is kind of very far and few. Now, I do know some years ago, some years back, even maybe some places outside of the US, just based on my research here on YouTube and watching others' journey, there were people that were able to get their Sisterlocks installed for anywhere between $800 to $1,000, you know, and that's pretty awesome. I think that's a steal, honestly, for just the time and work that's put in to doing Sisterlocks. However, in today's time and how inflation is, the chances of you coming across getting Sisterlocks for anywhere less than, I would say, even $1,200, the pot's a little thin there. I do believe when it comes to Sisterlocks, we are more on the pricier side of locks. There's just a lot of things that go into just doing Sisterlocks, and of course the size, the amount of time that it may take to install them. And those price points are generated basically off of that and off of what the consultants feel their worth is for installing the Sisterlocks. What I would encourage is shopping around. Of course, is always a great option. You can always find somebody that can do it cheaper than the next. My suggestion in that would be to just shop around. You know, if you find someone with a price point that's just a little too high for your liking, definitely see what else you can find out there. It's not impossible, and honestly, going to the actual Sisterlocks website, you'll be able to see a list of all the certified locticians. Now, the only thing that I would say is a con about that website, which I still struggle with to this day, I actually like to see people's work. I like to see people that utilize their platforms and kind of just show what they do. So that kind of gives me a better idea and feel of the environment, the nature, and just the quality of work. So that's the only thing that I say is a downside about the Sisterlocks website. You really don't see that. All you see is their name and contact information. So it's kind of like, you know, Russian roulette. You just hopefully pick the right kind of person to be in your head. I would definitely shop around. You never know what you'll come across just by looking at options. So yeah, definitely consider the cost point first, and we'll move right on to the next topic. All right, y'all, so the next thing would be the length of the install time. You definitely want to take into consideration the length of time that it may take for you to even get your Sisterlocks installed. Now, everybody's link time is different. You know, maybe your consultant is pretty fast, maybe your hair is really long, maybe your hair is really short. You know, it's a lot of factors that play into the actual time frame. Me personally, I've said this multiple times throughout my channel, my installation was 15 hours, but I've had people who had the same length of hair that I started with, which was about around 4.5 to 5 inches of hair. I've had the same people with the same length kind of get it done a bit quicker. So it's all about just the speed of who's doing your hair as well as the length, because the longer that your hair is, the longer it takes to install Sisterlocks. Keep that in mind. If that's something that you can see for yourself, sitting in a chair for consistent hours back to back, I mean, in a way, I feel like most women, we are kind of trained for this, okay? We've been getting box braids, we've been getting Seneca leaves, we've been getting sew-ins, we've been getting our hair perm, fried, dyed, laid to the side, and we've been sitting in chairs for hours starting out, but it is a bit longer getting Sisterlocks. I will say I have yet to hear that someone has gotten their Sisterlocks installed in less than 10 hours. I don't even think I've heard 8 hours, honestly. I may have heard 8 hours, so I would say 8 at the minimum. That's something that you want to think about, and you also want to think about when it's time to actually get your reties. You're probably going to be in the chair anywhere between 3 to 4 hours. You might be in the chair less than that. Again, it just depends on if you're able to find somebody that is a lot faster than the average or the norm. Maybe they've been doing this for like over however many years to, you know, have that speed that they've picked up. But for the most part, you just have to consider the time that it will take to just sit and get your hair done. Just consider being able to do that every however many weeks. It could be 5 to 8 weeks in that time frame that you're scheduled to go in and get your hair retightened. Can you see yourself doing that on a consistent rotation like that, you know? So that's another thing to consider as far as getting Sisterlocks. And with that, we'll go ahead and move on to the next topic. So the next expectation is going to be how your hair looks after your install. Okay, I call it scalpy. Some people call it sparse. Others call it a plucked chicken. Okay, I don't know what you want to call it. You call it what makes you feel comfortable with identifying it as. You've probably already seen what that even looks like for a lot of people on YouTube or any other social platforms where people kind of go through their journey from the very beginning up until where they're currently at. But yeah, that first, I would say first couple of weeks, maybe even first month, you know, it's given malnutrition. It's gonna look a little crazy, okay? You gotta be able to know that you can get through that, all right? I've seen reaction videos on social media of someone getting Sisterlocks and they are kind of like freaking out because they're like, this is not what I wanted. And it's okay, all right? It's gonna be what you want. You just have to give your locks a chance, all right? Your hair is now put into a style right now so that it can start thickening up and things like that later down the road, and it's not going to be that much further down the road. Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, a way to work around that, and my consultant, she is not an advocate for this whatsoever. She definitely went through everything that I don't need to be doing with my hair because of, you know, it possibly affecting my locks in a negative way. But I wore baseball caps for maybe the first 2.5, 3 weeks. For the first 2 to 3 weeks, I was wearing caps on my head. I had cute little, well, all different kind of hats, honestly. Anything that I could do to take the attention off of my scalp, I did. I'm not proud about it. I definitely understand why you shouldn't, because it can affect your locks. It can rub them. It can rub your edges out. It can just cause your head to sweat because it's just, you know, it's a lot, and your locks are not supposed to get wet. So that's another thing. You don't want your hair to sweat. You don't want your roots to sweat because you might accidentally sweat out a few of those retie knots that, yeah. Do what you got to do just to get through that stage. If you decide that's something that you can work with or you can work around. You know, if you feel like that's something that you can get through, then that's great. That's an expectation that you will be more than prepared for when the day comes. And with that, we're going to move on to the next topic. All right, y'all. So the next expectation is going to be that you will be on a strict hair routine for some time when you first get your install. So this is another thing that you have to ask yourself, are you able to do what you need to do so that your hair can flourish the way that it should and it was meant to flourish, okay? You will not run into any issues if you do exactly what your consultant tells you to do. Granted, you are going to have some hiccups here and there with your hair, like, you know, you could be doing everything you're supposed to do, but your edges, you know, seem to slip out because maybe that's a more finer type of hair, or your edges just take such a longer time to lock. Those are little minor inconveniences that most consultants are prepared for anyways. But for the most part, you know, not wetting your hair while your hair is loose, not getting caught in the rain, not going swimming while your hair is loose. So just giving you just the minimum amount of time that it's going to take for your hair to actually start, you know, locking and maturing. The minimum would be 6 to 9 months. Your hair is still going to be considered baby locks, not really matured. Some people's hair mature within 9 months. Some people's, you know, it doesn't take them until like over a year, like me. My hair has not fully matured. As you can see, my ends are still curly. They're not supposed to look like this, apparently. Like when my hair starts to mature more, my ends are going to drop. They're going to be straight. And all I'm going to have are memories, you know? When you are washing your Sisterlocks, you have to use the braiding and banding method. No questions asked, no workaround. You got to do what you got to do. Now, for some people, the braid and banding method is really not that serious. It's a piece of cake. It's literally a 1-2 kind of thing for them. It's not that deep. Of course, we can do it. Like, I can do this all day. It doesn't even affect me, blah, blah, blah. It must be nice, okay? Because me personally, I got Sisterlocks because I am lazy with my hair. I don't want to have to do a lot. I want to be able to wake up and not have to really do much to my hair. Just shake it out, maybe flip it over to a side part or rock the middle part as I've been doing consistently. Okay, hello. But, you know, not really have to do much with my hair. So the fact that now when it's time to wash my hair, I have to braid and band, I'm really not in the mood to do it, okay? I'm a lazy hair person. It is what it is. Doing the braiding and banding method is very crucial. It does prevent your hair from bunching, meaning, some people, they feel like they're not getting any length retention. Like, why does it feel like I've had my locks for so long, but it's like they're not even like getting longer, and it's been months and months, and I still feel like I'm not really seeing much, length? It's because bunching is basically your ends drawing up and bunching together and locking that way rather than being stretched out. Braiding and banding allows your hair to basically dry in a stretched out state, so that when you take it out, you are still retaining that length. So it's really important to braid and band for that reason. Also, with your new baby locks, you don't want your locks to slip out. Like, you don't want that to happen, okay? Now, if your loctician is like, please do not get your hair wet, because if you wet your hair before it's time, without braiding and banding, you could cause a lot of slippage in ways and areas that you don't see. And you might think that your hair looks fine. Like, oh, I washed my hair without braiding and banding and I got away with it last time. I should be fine this time because I didn't really see much of anything. And then you're going to your consultant appointment, and it's taking a lot longer for your hair to be retightened because you thought, or you feel as though you have so much new growth, but really they're repairing your hair. They're having to repair and retighten and all of that good stuff. So you definitely just don't want to have to go through unnecessary headaches and hardship. Make sure that you are trying your best to listen to your consultant. They know what's best for your hair, and they're also not going to tell you something that's going to cause them to have to do way more work to repair or fix when it's time to actually do your hair. Another part of the strict hair routine is going to be, you will not be able to use any conditioner. So if you're used to shampooing and conditioning your hair and you feel like that just makes so much sense, you're used to oiling your hair, used to greasing your scalp, whatever the case may be, like this is the way that your hair flourishes the best and it grows the best. You're not going to be able to do that, okay? You're not going to be able to oil your hair, grease your hair, or use conditioner on your hair. You will be on your starter lock shampoo. Your consultant should supply you with that, or you may want to go and use just like a clarifying shampoo. If you're not able to get the starter lock shampoo, your consultant should be able to kind of just confirm with you what's going to be the best option to go with if you would prefer to use like your own clarifying shampoo. But for the most part, you need a shampoo that's basically drying out the hair. The way that your hair is going to lock is by being dried out. It basically just helps the process of your hair locking a lot sooner, a lot smoother, a lot quicker, okay? If your hair is constantly under heavy moisture, your hair can easily slip out of those interlocks, and we don't want slippage. Now, as far as hydrating your scalp, get permission from your consultant. You can always use like a mist bottle with like water mixed with, whatever, or it could just be water. Because honestly, our hair is hydrated by water. That's how our scalp gets the hydration that it needs. That's how our hair grows. But yeah, you can't really use any oils. You can't use any grease. You can't use conditioner. You have to just use water and your starter lock shampoo after you've braided and banded your hair. Now, typically you're going to be doing this at minimum for about 9 months, okay? You may even be doing this at minimum for about 6 to 7 months. Some people's hair is a lot different where they don't really need to braid and band for that long because of their texture and how quick that their hair is locking up. Everybody's hair is different. You want to always keep that in mind. But for the most part, setting expectations, I would want you to be prepared for, worst case scenarios. That's how I like to think of, like, worst case scenario, I'm going to have to braid and band for 9 months straight. Can I do it? Is that something that I can see myself doing? Worst case scenario, I can only use my starter lock shampoo or a clarifying shampoo whenever I'm washing my hair. Can I go without my conditioned crack? Can I go without my oils? Can I go without my grease? Those are things that you want to ask yourself and consider, because you cannot use any of that until your consultant gives you the green light to do so. And yeah, so that's going to be another expectation with jumping into Sisterlocks. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the last expectation. All right, y'all, and for the last expectation, expect to grow with your hair, okay? Expect to enjoy the journey. Expect to fall in love with the process. Expect the great. This is a very interesting and humbling journey. Honestly, it's humbling more so if you start with shorter hair and you just give your hair the space and time to grow and evolve into your mature lock stage. I say this so much on my channel when it comes to my Sisterlocks. I regret nothing about this investment. This was an investment worth doing because because one thing that I would stress about so much is, what am I gonna do to my hair next? I can't wake up with my free natural hair and just go on about my business. I'm a type 4 girly, okay? Type 4B, 4C. You got to do something with that head. You know, some days you might be able to get away with the afro. The fro is froing the way that it needs to fro. Certain events don't call for the fro, you know, and it's kind of like, so what am I going to do with my hair next? Am I going to get a sew-in? Am I going to get a wig? Am I going to get box braids? Am I going to style it like this? I need to buy this product. You know, it's a lot to deal with sometimes. And to jump into a sister lock community, or locks in general, just overall locks in general, you know, it's very liberating. It's very freeing of your mental space when it comes to just feeling like, what am I gonna do with my hair? I wake up every single day, y'all, and all I do is shake my hair out of the bonnet, maybe like finger fluff it. I do this all the time with my hair. Like it's a very beautiful journey, and you know, it's exciting because you really don't know what your hair is going to look like at the end, but throughout the stages, you start to see your hair evolve and change and look different. And if you're tracking your journey and you're comparing, you're like, oh my gosh, my hair really used to look like that and it looks like this now. Like, oh my goodness. Those of you considering getting Sisterlocks and joining the community, this is a very cool community to be in. Honestly, all of the natural hair communities are cool to be in. You do have your pros and cons, you know, topics of discussions that you really just don't have nothing to do with. But, you know, other than that, everybody is so welcoming. They're so inviting. And a lot of our locks mean different things to all of us. You know, just the thing that made us decide to go that route. I just hope that whatever you decide to do, that is something that makes you feel good about yourself and makes you feel free. And it releases whatever it is that you're searching to be released when worrying about your hair, or when trying to tend to your hair or care for your hair. I just hope that whatever decision you go with, you're happy with. And if it is ultimately Sisterlocks, welcome. This journey is so interesting. It's so exciting. And I think it's 100% worth being a part of. So yeah, you guys, that's going to be all for this Sisterlocks video today. Again, don't forget, I check in every 3 months for my own personal Sisterlocks update. So I will be checking in with you guys here really soon for my next update on my locks. And again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if this was helpful, interesting, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.